Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. We actually don't have enough members here to form a quorum, but we're going to go through all the same information and pretend like we do, and then we'll just do it unofficially. So we'll just go ahead and proceed, and then any business that we have, such as approving the minutes and all that, we'll push it forward to the next meeting. Donna couldn't be with us this morning, and I won't fault Craig Freeman because he's recently been promoted to city manager, so I'm sure he's got other things going on this morning as well. So we'll just go ahead and get started. We're going to skip approval of the minutes. We'll push that till the next round, and then we'll just jump right in. We have Fazila here from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and she's going to give us a presentation this morning. Thank you for coming, Fazila.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I think is this ready to go? Okay, I wanted to go over some of the tools with Blue Cross Blue Shield that are available to all members. And so we have Blue Access for members, and I wanted to go over some of our pharmacy tools that we have. Blue Access for members is our member portal. So to be able to access this, you need your member ID number. You'd go in, you'd create a password, and you're able to access information that is secure and would just be for you. So I'll go through some of the things that are available. This is the login sign, and so it's the first time when you're going to log in, you would need your ID number, which would be on the card, and then you create a password, and you're able to get in. So we call it BAM for short. It's Blue Access for members, but some of the things that you can do on the website is you can order ID cards if you need an ID card for a dependent or a different address. We have care management. All of our case management tools are on there. Special Beginnings is a maternity program. Blue 365 is a discount program that's available to all Blue Cross and Blue Shield members. They've got discounts all over town. You've got gym memberships, discounts for eyewear, hearing aids, things like that that are on there that you have availability to. So this is kind of what your home screen looks like. So on the top is your coverage tab. So you have My Coverage. This really gives you your benefit detail, like what your deductible is, who is all on the plan, what's your covered dependents. The second one is the Claim Center, and this actually gives you all the claims that we have processed for you. The My Health tab is really like our health and wellness. If you've got, we've got certain topics like on stress or holidays and how to manage that, and you can hit that tab and be able to have access to it. Number 4 is probably the one that we hear the most about, is doctors and hospitals. This is like if you're trying to find a provider that's in network, right? You guys are mainly on the Blue Preferred network, and so you would hit that tab, put in your zip code and the type of doctor you're looking for, and you'll be able to access who is in the network. Number 5 is forms and documents. A lot of times we're looking for different forms, like you want to say that you had to pay something out of pocket and you need the member claim form. You're able to access that through and just download that form. So the My Coverage tab, this gives you benefit highlights on what deductible you have, how much money you've met toward your deductible, and how much you have spent toward your out-of-pocket maximums. That's on the My Coverage tab. The Claim Center actually keeps about 2 years of claims in there, and to the left you can actually sort it where you can sort by the dependent. So a lot of times we're trying to find a claim, you can put in the dependent you're looking for and able to see all the claims that were processed by them. Or you can sort it by the certain doctor that you have, and it will keep the whole history. You can actually download that to an Excel file. If you guys have like an FSA account, we really recommend at the end of the year, you can actually sort and see how much you've paid out of pocket. So it helps to determine what you're going to, what you should elect for next year. Also, we always recommend that when you go into the doctor, we process that claim, and then we send you an explanation of benefits. And all these are stored online, but we make sure that you check how much was actually billed, how much you owe, and then you match that up with the bill that you're going to get from the provider. So it'll be all on here. And it's all medical, RX, and dental are all on the same Claim Center. Claims detail, this actually you can go in, all the explanation of benefits are logged on here, so you can actually go into each claim and pull the entire detail out for you, like line item on what was actually processed, what was your amounts, how much we paid the provider. Provider Finder. This is what we was talking about before, about going into if you wanted to find how much, what doctor was in network, but right beside it, where it says Get Medical Care, you can actually get an approximation on how much it will cost as well. So you can put in, say that you want to see a particular doctor, and you want to know how much his visit would be. We could actually give you an estimate on how much that charge would be. So you can actually, shop and compare providers, especially for diagnostic tests like MRIs and CAT scans. Those can be very expensive, and the price difference on those it's pretty high. You can just see the difference on that. You can go in and type in that you need to get an ultrasound done, and it will give you an estimate on how much it would have cost within your zip code. So it's a pretty cool tool. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. It's in our provider contract, actually, and the way that we contract with the doctors, they actually kind of sign something that says that they're looking out for our members, not only for the best quality of care, but actually on how much things cost as well. So in our contract, it states that our members, like if you went to the doctor and he says you need to get a CAT scan, and you go online or you call our customer service and say, I need to get a CAT scan, my doctor told me to go here, we can tell you, well, if you went maybe across the street, it would cost this. And you can go back to your doctor and say, I'm going to go here. Or we can actually call the doctor for you and say, what, this is, $600 cheaper, and we can help you make that appointment. Yeah, there's a huge difference on that. It's funny because we'll shop, for a phone case, right? Like I know if I need a new phone case, I'm on Amazon trying to find the best deal. But for healthcare, which is such a major expense, we don't really shop for it. We kind of just go where our doctor tells us to go. Another thing is about getting a temporary ID card. A lot of times, we don't know where our ID card is, we've misplaced it, or we need another one, you can just actually download it and print it out right from Blue Access for Members. Or if you need to get a replacement card, you can do that as well. These are also, you can get it digitally. So if you've got a smartphone, you can actually get a digital copy and it will download into your phone. Okay. Pharmacy, if you need to get pharmacy information through My Prime, you can get that right through Blue Access for Members. There's lots of information on the pharmacy. It's Prime Therapeutics, and some of the things I want to talk about are our tools and some of the utilization management programs that we have. So 2 utilization management programs that the city participates in is prior authorizations and step therapies. And so prior authorizations is just making sure that the medication that you're on is medically necessary and it meets the criteria for that drug. Usually it's on certain high-dollar drugs to make sure that that is, therapeutically appropriate for you. Once you get that authorization, it's usually valid for 12 months. So you get a whole year to kind of be on that before you have to go through that process again. Step therapies is really more of a system where it's looking back to see, did your doctor give you the most expensive drug, or did he try the generic out first? For example, like psoriasis. We see all these commercials for psoriasis. You have the redness on your skin. There's so many topical creams that are out there for that. And they cost about $10 to $20 for that cream. But if you watch the news at night, you'll see all the Enbrel and Humira. Well, that is $3,000 per month on that. And so the cost difference is huge, right? So not only for you, but also for the city to pay that. So step therapy is really like, hey, did you try the topical cream first? And if it didn't work for you, then you kind of step up to the next therapy. Okay, well, it didn't work for me, but my doctor says I need to get this, instead of going to that $3,000 drug first without even trying that. So it's not saying that it's not covered. It's just saying that you kind of have to go through the process and see if you've tried the lower cost option. The request, for urgent requests, it usually takes about 3 days. We just get the information from the provider. Our pharmacy director looks at that, puts that approval in. The specialty drugs that I was talking about, like Enbrel and Humira, are high-dollar drugs, right? They can range from $3,000 to $10,000 a month. Well, we partner with Alliance RX, which is Walgreens, and it's mail order. And so we have certain home delivery pharmacies around the United States, and they actually ship those out to you. There's a case manager assigned, and they kind of help you with that, because a lot of these drugs, it might be the first time you're taking that. You don't know the side effects of that. Is that going to affect you? And so you've got someone that you can call, can help you kind of get through that. They can call your doctor and say, you know what, this isn't working, let's try something else. And Alliance RX will actually ship that drug out to you. So on Blue Access for Members, there's going to be a tab that says Prime Therapeutics. You can get lots of information about your pharmacy benefits on that. It's all on kind of the same website, but general RX information. You want to know, are you on a generic drug, a brand name drug, specialty drug, how much it's going to cost. If it's got a PA next to it, that means that that's a drug that's going to need a prior authorization, so you're not surprised when you go to the pharmacy going, oh, I can't get that right now, I need to get an authorization. It also gives you the dispensing limit, quantity limits. Some of these drugs have a quantity limit on it, especially with opioids. Because of all the legislation that's gone in place, there's only a certain amount that we're allowed to dispense, and that is all on our website that you'll be able to check out ahead of time. So that's all I had. Do you guys have any questions? It's right in here. Yep. That's okay. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of information just on the website that they can do. Yeah.
I think that's pretty beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, as far as back at the beginning of it, when you go on the website, I was told by a provider earlier with that valid wellness program.
Yeah.
The things that they cover 100%, and I was using this for an example.
They're all covered at 100%. It is. So, Yeah, on that My Coverage tab really gives you kind of an idea of what the benefits that you have. But yeah, there's a whole list of like what we call is your preventative, right? Like a preventative list of all the procedures that are covered under that. So that will be under the My Coverage tab. Yeah, like colonoscopies, just your annual physical, the blood tests that go on with those physicals are all covered at 100%. No deductible, no co-payments. You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes.
When a doctor prescribes a medication, can a doctor find out that
Absolutely. All the information that we have on our formulary, which is the formulary is our list of drugs, that is all made public. And so the doctors are able to do that. But if they're an in-network provider, we actually send those to our doctors. And so they have a list of, and we update those quarterly, and those are sent to our providers, letting them know which drugs would require an authorization. So they can send that in immediately when they want to have that prescribed to you. Well, you guys are on our open drug list. So your drug list is our standard list. So we don't have a customized drug list. You guys have a couple things that are customized, but they are just sent our generic, our standard one. I know. Yeah, we do, because I think that's the best thing to do. And they're able to, kind of download that list, and I know that can be cumbersome, but if you're going to a doctor and you're getting a new prescription of something you've never taken, I would just advise a member have that conversation with the doctor, saying, hey, does this need to be approved? Do I need to go through any, step therapy before I get this? Yeah. Yeah, we would definitely recommend that. Yeah. Yeah. Ah. Yeah. Yeah. I have a flyer. I just have a one-page flyer, and it says utilization management programs, and it just explains step therapy and prior authorization. So one-page flyer. Maybe we can just kind of distribute that. But on the back of it, the bottom really does say that it is the member's responsibility. You know what I mean? The member needs to ask. And I think if we kind of just emphasize that, like if you're going to be on a new prescription, because I know I had it happen to me. I went in, for one thing, we don't. I'm on the Blue Cross plan for our employees. We don't cover compound medications. Compound medications is putting this drug and this drug together. And I had hurt my foot, and so my doctor, my orthopedist, had prescribed this drug, and I'm just sitting, and I was like, and it's a topical cream. And I didn't know it was a compound. I've been at Blue Cross for 20 years. I did the exact same thing. I'm like, oh, it's a cream. He knows that what is covered and what's not covered. I took it to the pharmacy. It was $5,500 for this tube of cream that was not approved. And so, yeah, I was guilty of that too. I didn't even really kind of think that would happen. But yeah, we just probably need to get that word out to make sure members aren't surprised at the pharmacy. Because it's very frustrating, because obviously you've gone to the doctor because you're not feeling well. right? And so you want to be able to get whatever prescription you need as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people tend to just throw away mail. And I'll get that flyer over to you, and then you can kind of look at it and see if it's something that would work for you guys.
Not specifically, it's local and city, but generally speaking, you guys track what percentage of scripts written fall into step therapy for our organization. Because I think with generics that are out there today, and even at the pharmacy, pharmacists will ask you one generic, one brand, they can figure out compatibility to work with the insured to get that script filled. So is there kind of a general percentage trend? They say, hey, about 28% of our scripts fall into the category.
Yeah. Uh-huh. The city is actually running, the city is running very nicely. They're running about 88% generics, which is really high. 88% generics right now. We just pulled the numbers for October. Yeah, so 88% generics. No. No authorization, yeah. So we're dealing with a very... They may fall into that. Another thing that we do track as well is our approval rate. Okay, so we are not going to put a step therapy or an authorization on something that we auto-approve all the time, right? Because that's just a roadblock for the member, for the provider. So we track that monthly to see, okay, if this is coming in with this diagnosis and we automatically approve it, then we'll kind of take that step therapy off or that prior authorization off. So we look at it where it's making the most sense for our groups, because we use this same list for our fully insured book of business, right? The one that we're on the dollar for. So we use that same for our self-funded. So yeah, we track all that on a monthly basis. Yeah. Well, and then I know out of that 80, okay, so, yeah, and out of that 12%, we know that 2% take specialty drugs, the ones that are those very high dollar drugs. And so, but that 2%, obviously the cost makes up for probably all of the generics on there. So, yeah, it almost narrows it down to about 10% that are in the brand name category, where brand name, is there a generic available or a therapeutic equivalent? You know, pretty much all the blockbuster drugs have all started to go generic, right? But then there's new ones that are coming up. Right now, the biggest concern for not 2019, almost 2020, is diabetics. And so all of the money being poured in from the manufacturers is on diabetic medication. And some of these diabetic medications, used to have that metformin, which was like $4. We're coming out with drugs that are in the $1,000 range now for a pill. So So that's what we're kind of going to see. And I think before, we didn't have a lot of step therapies on diabetics because everybody was on metformin. You were good. You took insulin, but just the atmosphere is changing now. So that's something that we'll definitely look at for next year and see. Good. Any other questions? Absolutely. And it is. I mean, no, it is. And I mean, I experienced it. I did. I mean, my foot hurt. I wanted to get my medication. Went to the pharmacy. But I completely understand why I got the roadblock, because I'm sure my employer is like, why do you have a $5,000 cream here? You know, like, why would you need this? Like, is it, equivalent? We do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll get letters, yeah. And that's one thing that has been so beneficial starting January 18, is because now I have the claim, the medical claim that comes in, and now I can see the pharmacy claim. So we're integrated. We are on one case management system. So if we see that, and the opposite too, if we see that refill on that medication each month for the diabetic, right, for your insulin, but we're not seeing a medical claim here, that's a concern too, because you shouldn't be on something without it being monitored for a while. So it goes both ways. So if you have a doctor's visit, but you're not, say you have high blood pressure, we see the claim come in for high blood pressure, but we don't see high blood pressure medication here. We will notify not only the member, we'll send you notification, call you, we have a case manager, but we'll also reach out to the provider because we have a provider contract with them. Because it's their responsibility as well to see if they're managing you and you're not getting that prescription filled, and then you go in 3 months later, there's responsibility on both sides. But it's all integrated in one system. We do not on medication. We do on insulin. Insulin is a huge one where the price difference and the rebate dollars back have a huge, price difference on that. So we do have a preferred vendor on the insulin. Getting people to change over to that, can be challenging because some people, when they like what they're on, but we do have that on. We also give a free meter out to anybody that's diabetic. You just need to call customer service. We'll send you out the free meter, and of course, obviously, the test strips that are with that are our preferred. So, and that might be something that we want to kind of promote too. That if you are diabetic, you can get a free meter through Blue Cross, and we'll mail it to you. Because it's brand name versus non-preferred. Yeah. The price difference is different as well. Yeah. The cost difference. Yep, definitely, to get them onto that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's what we call. So we call it, a brand name has a generic available, or they have a therapeutic. Wow, so that means that you're in the same class, but you're not the exact same ingredients that are in that. Yeah, but that's another thing that the city does have in place, where I have a lot of groups, I have a lot of self-funded groups that put a hard stop on that. Like, you have to take this, you are not allowed to go into that same class. with that drug, or you pay full cost of the drug. So the city has it pretty much, we don't have it set up that. You're still allowed to take whatever you want. You might have to pay a little bit more for it, but you're not paying full cost of the drug. Good. Anything else? Do you guys have any questions? No? Okay, George is happy, and that's a good thing. Yeah, you're welcome.
Be pretty interesting, I know this is the first year actually, to see how many people jump back and forth. That tells you whether they're satisfied or not. Say again.